Hi, welcome everybody to the afternoon sessions. For all of you guys still here in the audience, ready for another panel. We've got some action-packed, amazing, guys here on the panel today for you guys. My name is Megan Nilsson. I go by Crypto Megan. We're here at Rare Evo. Hope you guys have been enjoying the conference so far. We will be discussing today getting your vision to revenue. And this is one of the topics that I love because I'm also a strategic advisor. I'm on a world tour right now, currently filming for Draper TV, Tim Draper's channel. And, there are so many visionaries in the space, and there are so many incredible ideas and projects, but bringing those to another level to where you can scale, to where you can bring money in, to where you can get your vision to life is actually very difficult. And not many stand the test of time. So I'm up here with three incredible panelists who have been able to achieve that, and we're gonna give you tips and get just a little bit deeper into their backgrounds and some advice on others who want to achieve what you guys have achieved. So without further ado, I'd love to announce my panel. Wesley Crook, the CEO of FP Complete, Ben Hart, the CEO of M Labs, and Zach, aka Cash, CEO of Anvil Development Agency. So thank you all for being here today, and let's just kick this off by maybe getting a little bit deeper into what you guys do, quick intros, and we'll go all three of you around the table.
On? Yeah? Okay, there we go. Hey there. So a little bit about M Labs. M Labs established itself first as a fintech consultancy. We moved into blockchain in 2021. I had a sort of preceding experience with the EVM, and we wound up taking on a niche, building many of the protocols that you've seen on Cardano, building and eventually auditing as well. We've since launched and worked with over 20 projects, many of the ones you've heard about. We're partnered with Liquid very early on. We've been partners with IOG, Indigo Labs, Sunday, MinSwap, most of the major protocols in the DeFi space, especially the early launchers, we were involved with in some way. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Wes Crook, FP Complete, going by FP Block in the Web3 space. We've been around since 2011. We are one of the companies that originally did the audits for Cardano when it first launched.
2011, you said?
Yes.
Wow.
We've been in the blockchain space since 2016. Primarily, we've been focused in the regulated and near-regulated industries. So we've got probably about 17, 18 projects under our belt now in the Web3 smart contract space. And we've been building some really high performance applications now for the better part of the last 7-8 years.
Wow, that truly has stood the test of time.
Yes.
It's going to be incredible to hear some vision from you and some insight on what that journey has been like. So thank you for that intro. And Cash.
Thanks, I'm Cash. I'm the CEO of Anvil Development Agency. We're a Cardano-based dev company. We do a lot of work with NFT projects right now. And we're developing into creating kind of another use case for our company, doing a lot of custom work, reaching out to Web 2 parties who want to get into blockchain and don't necessarily understand how to. We're trying to make it really easy for them, understandable and digestible. And we're trying to provide a good experience for all the end users that are affected and use our products. So we're really interested in this convention, kind of explaining what we do a little bit more, and I'm looking forward to the questions for the panel.
Right, so this panel is called Getting Your Vision to Revenue, right? So a lot of what your guys' work is, and my work as well, is helping those founders who have that vision then, achieve that network effect, get their business model and their revenue going. Can you guys give us some insight as to what that's been like? I know you just said you've now gone to Web 2 companies, trying to get them introduced to Web3. Is that also the rest of the angle? Or let's kind of like go on a roundtable here, and I would love to get some insights on your guys' tactics and what you've been doing to achieve that.
Yeah, sure. From our perspective, we're an engineering company. We build things, and what we've seen time and time again, a lot of our clients, they come in with their projects, they have really smart engineers, smart CTOs, but they've never done the end-to-end. They're either really good at the front end, they're really good at the backside, the back-end engineering, but they've never gone to production. And, case in point, we just took one company. They spent 2.5 years, about $10 million. We came in behind them. They couldn't launch. And in 6 months, we built their application. Now they're about $3.5 billion in trading volume on a perps platform. We took their operating costs down from $300,000 a year to about $110,000 a year, but by the architecture we designed. So really what we tell CEOs and founders and folks like that is, yes, you may have some smart engineers and smart CTOs, but have they really built production systems that'll stand the test of time? It might be an MVP, might be a 50,000 user system, but can they do 1 million? Can they do 2 million users? Do they have the security? Do they have the architecture to scale? Are they on the right protocols? Because a lot of protocols, blockchains are questionable sometimes. So we help companies get that vision to revenue quickly because, think about it. Everybody's getting grant money or investor money. Cash only goes so far. And if you burn it just building and building and building, you won't get there.
Right, you're going to run out of runway, and then you're not going to get that vision executed ever. So that's really interesting. So can you say those stats again? They went from what million to, how can you tell us a little bit about those numbers? Because they're pretty astounding. I mean, so what do you think that they changed in either their protocol? Can you give them some tangible examples to the audience as far as tweaks that you did to help them achieve that goal?
Well, basically, a lot of folks are, they take requirements from the product teams, from the founders, the visionaries, but they haven't vetted the science and math behind it. And that's where we come in. We'll deconstruct the algorithms and the math and science, and that's why we call ourselves engineers, not developers. Because a lot of times the requirements aren't well vetted. And if you don't have a well vetted requirement, you tend to kind of wander in your building, and that's where you get in trouble. I've never met an engineer that can't do something. That's part of the problem. It's a team approach, but the real piece of it is shipping is a feature. You got to get it out the door. Engineers like to tinker. Teams like to tinker. They don't finish what they think. Oh, we can do it better. New thing. It's like get it out the door, get it in production, build something that the community wants to absorb. Because if you pre-launch or you launch a poor product, you're done. I mean, look at all the dead chains and all the zombies out there that you see, is they built poor product and they launched it.
So you need to find the product fit first in order to properly
find the product fit, do the math and science behind the algorithms to make sure they're sound, and then build the requirements and then build the software quickly, and don't try to be oversized.
Right. It's really interesting.
Quite often in blockchain, there's a lot that can limit what's possible. So if you don't take an honest look at what you can achieve, and you commit to things like scaling without limit in a situation where that's not plausible, you need to rethink, or you will never ship, and you will run out of money. It's a matter of time. You have to be able to make those trade-offs and also set yourself up for future success, because the thing you don't want to have to do is start from scratch, right?
And do most projects in your guys' experience, do they start first with a hype and then they go toward the project, or do they build and then launch project after they've built? You know what I mean? Has that dynamic changed for you as developers, or is it still similar to where they kind of promise a lot and then they decide, okay, now we kind of felt that this community is ready and let me go back and build the project now?
This is especially in America, this has changed with securities law quite a bit, or with our understanding of securities exposure. So I think even a few years ago, it was much more common to have a huge amount of hype going into an early raise, where those early raises are getting a lot less common now. People want to get a product out before they really at least sell to consumer level investors. So that's certainly a huge factor that's changed just over the past 2-3 years, from an early blockchain experience where you really want to get your ICO up immediately to later stage sales. Early on, by 3-4 years ago, we already had VCs coming in where people had initially gone straight to the community, and they needed that hype just to get enough funds that they could build anything. Right?
So primarily, it's usually for the funds, but in some cases, and I want to get to you, Cash, because I see you smiling over there, like you resonate.
Yeah.
I don't want to single anybody out, but there was a massive raise that was done really recently, and all it resulted in was a very anticlimactic launch, a lot of unhappy investors, and there's really, from what I gather, there's no point for them to try to continue to hype because they've already made their money, right? And so in some cases, that actually is a legitimate way for them to raise, and in other cases, it's like just a way to get a lot of money in, and then, well, we'll see what happens with the chain later, right? Can you comment on that, Cash?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people come into this with a lot of ambition, and they really think like they're onto something special, and sometimes people truly are onto something special. I have my buddy out there, Nuvola, in the crowd. One of the few projects that I've seen actually bring their ideas to fruition first rather than trying to cause a lot of hype around the project. I think that's one of the biggest downsides to Web3 is people really, and rarely do they go out and they actually build up a reputation before launching a product. And I think that people need to kind of think about that more because a lot of the people in this space now are really aged and they really understand like, we're not going to fall for every trick anymore. We need to see an actual protocol delivered and it has to actually work before we're going to invest in your product, right? So one of the things that we like to focus on at Anvil is making things really easy to bring for regular everyday projects, right? Who can't afford necessarily a $100,000 dev budget, but they need to ship something to their consumers, right? So staking is one of the big things that we do. And a lot of the custom work that we do is very well priced and affordable so that people can actually ship these things to their end users and live up to their promises. And it's a big problem in this space, but I think people are finally wising up and starting to understand like we can't just throw money at everything. We have to pick and choose our winners and then support them. And we're starting to see that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point about reputation. I think the one commonality amongst all of us here on this panel is that we worked hard to have that reputation, to take the long road, to not take shortcuts and fast cash and all the other things that are, rampant in the space. And that speaks volumes. And we're all here today continuing to build and continuing to bring out the best. So hopefully people can follow that playbook and be in it for the long game instead of trying to just, put something together quickly. So.
Also, people always underestimate the timing of the market and how difficult that is when paired with timing of software development. You really have to be in things for the long haul, especially right now. Yep. You're better to get something in place and then just try to time your launch to have the most impact that you're going to get. Because, I'm sorry, the market conditions today are not going to be the same market conditions in even a very short build, like a 2 or 3 month build, which is pretty good. The market conditions are going to change. And you have to be prepared to build a product that's going to withstand all kinds of market conditions, not just the fat times.
Right, yeah, so it's important so what you're saying is that they should be ready to launch, but just potentially hold out until those conditions are ideal.
I think that's an ideal state to be in, where suddenly you simply have to choose the timing, as opposed to frantically trying to get through a build and launching a buggy product because you needed to take advantage of a very specific window, right? Or a fad that investors have become obsessed with for that month, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
Rare Evo 2025 tickets are on sale now. Save big. General admission passes are discounted to $250, and VIP passes are only $800. Join us August 7th through 9th, 2025 at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. Hurry, only 30 days left to save. Visit rareevo.io and buy your tickets now.
Playing onto that, if you build a good product, timing is valuation. People are going to invest in good product, good vision, good delivery. I grew up in the .com bubble way back. And, how many companies were running around there losing revenue and getting hundreds of millions of dollars in investment capital. We're going through the same process here today in the Web3 space. And we're starting to mature. The adults are starting to come in the room, so to speak, where you got to have a business plan, you got to have a market plan, you got to have a tech stack plan. And if you build it and you do all those things, the investors will be there. The money will be there. What you're seeing today is investors are saying, I got the money, but I'm not going to give you any more until you prove to me that this is going to work. Where before it's like, oh, here's a check, have fun.
Yeah, the checks were just ready to be written before, and everything was like turned to gold. I don't know,
Right.
you know, it's not that way right now in the market, evidently.
And I don't think it ever will be again in this particular technology bubble.
You don't think that we'll have one of those booms where people are just writing checks, and you think that that day has passed, and now it's all about
Yes.
quality?
I think it's now about we're flushing out the gamesmanship and we're getting down to business. You know, Web3, blockchain is becoming a part of our fabric for society, and when that happens, it's going to mature. I mean, if you look at the whole U.S. EFT, crypto space, Europe and other parts of the world are so far ahead of us, and now all of a sudden, because BlackRock and those guys now have EFTs, it's like cool again. There's a lot of money. The big guys, the enterprises, are trying to figure out how to take advantage of this, and they're not nimble like the people in this room to get it done. So we're building the early pieces. So sorry about that. We're building the early infrastructure that's going to become the future, and technology's done that over and over and over for the last 100 years. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's a cycle. It's cyclical, and now where would you say we are right now in comparison to the .com bubble?
We still haven't completely blown up yet.
We're about to find the Amazons, and right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. You're gonna have a consolidation. You're gonna have a more focus. We're gonna lose some players along the way, and then we're gonna have some big boys show up.
We're definitely also still trying to re-earn trust. I think there's a lot of trust through FTX and plenty of other projects that blew up, and it's going to take a long time, even with institutional investors starting to move into the space, to get that kind of confidence, especially at the protocol level. Like we're seeing institutional investors at the layer 1 level. That's the oldest part of the technology, right? Arguably, we had the first layer 1s coming out 12, 14 years ago at this point. The smart contract protocols, as a technology, that's only 5, 6, 8 years old.
Yeah. No, sorry. I just want everybody to hear what you guys are saying, because it's so valuable. They're invaluable insights, and really every founder needs to hear this who's been grinding and wants to get their vision monetized and bring it to life. Yeah. There is a playbook being built. Right, and you guys can all help out with that. Cash, I'd like to hear your opinion on this as well.
Yeah, and we, as our companies exist, we kind of get to see all these different trials and tribulations of people trying to bring their product to life. So we have like kind of a different view of it as opposed to most of the people in the space, because we get to see behind the scenes, right? We get to see all these people and how they talk and how they move and how they actually manage a product, right? So one thing I wanted to touch on was the kind of like spikiness and volatility of it. I do think that a lot of we're opening a protocol, throw us your money and we're gonna make you guys rich. I think a lot of that is over, but we're all expecting another bull market, and bull markets tend to make people very casual and very forgetful. So I think there will still be some new opportunities, but I don't see past this next bull market a lot of opportunities for people. We're going to see, like you said, a lot of the bigger projects solidify their stance in this space even more, because they've been now proven through 2 bull markets, right?
Yeah, you're standing the test of time. If you can stand 2 cycles, I mean, you're doing pretty good, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I want to touch back. Did you want to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say something that we get that even a lot of people who've worked at individual successful protocols don't get, is we get to see both the projects that succeed and the projects that don't. And we can really, I think we have a wealth of experience that comes from having an inside look into both sides of how a project can shake out. And that's something we focus on, is really not just the engineering side of things, but also the business components that lend themselves to success.
Yeah, absolutely, and getting that vision, monetized. And so that's one thing that I've been working on with several companies, and one is starting to achieve that network effect. They're building on base, but for me, it's looking like real world use cases and utility that's shining, truly shining now. And so I just put my brand behind one company that I haven't done this before in my career. I just felt so excited by the thought that there's real use cases and real business being done on chain. And one of the talks was, should we do this in the background and then kind of come out with it first to prove that, or should we, the thing we talked about before, do we go and hype first or do we build first? And they built first, and it was great. And they did 3.5 billion in volume on chain for telecom settlements, and they're doing that in the background. They're on track to process 14 billion in the next 12 months. Zebu, they were going to be here today. Hopefully they'll be at Rare Evo Singapore. And that to me is just astounding that we can now start having these use cases. Like, the tech is ready. That's a huge volume to be bringing in, and it's only going to go up from there. So now they're going to find that market fit after already having built a product. Now they're going to go to retail and say, hey, you can join this too. But one of the things that you said earlier that kind of resonated with was the trust, because their business model is 2% on all the transaction fees and share that with their validator nodes. So it's actually real yield coming from real transactions, but people are so shaken by the FTXs and by the collapses and by all of these projects that you stake, and they're kind of printing and giving you, out of thin air and giving you money out of thin air. So they're all kind of like, what's the catch? So now we're in that phase of we're building, we're going to show that this is actually working and it's a functioning model, right? And that excites me. I would like to hear what excites you guys the most about kind of like projects you've seen that you think that's the direction we should head in.
I think what we've been excited about is we're seeing the adoption in the mainstream of the technologies. In the perps and the options, the trading platforms. Yes, FTX gave everybody a black eye, but now you're seeing that trust starting to rebuild. You have a lot of different platforms, a lot of different chains doing the same thing. So I think the cross-chain world, getting where you can move your single identity across multiple chains, multiple platforms, I think is the next. We're really excited about that space. And
so chain agnostic, so building on.
Yes, the interoperability of the chain, single sign-on.
Absolutely.
I'm always really excited in products that are built to integrate with other products. I think this is where you can get a lot of leverage. If you're collecting fees on those services, even better. But there's a lot out there, and if everyone is trying to build everything from scratch, nobody gets anywhere. So if you can provide utility out to the people already in the space, it is dramatically easier to work with the existing adoption than trying to pull in new users. I'm also really excited about gaming and GameFi, because that does seem to be one of the key areas where we're bringing new adoption.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is already proven itself that it's starting to bring that traction in. So for sure.
Yeah, and for me, I'm really excited about the real world applications. Like, we're starting to explore a lot of them ourselves in terms of like new projects approaching us. And what I'm really looking forward to is people that are taking a more like a Web 2 approach and making their products for everyday users, not for crypto people, because crypto people are going to support those products no matter what, right? Because we're all in the same game here, kind of. But the people who are building tools, like I like to use the Starbucks app as an example, right? It's now been moonlighted, but it was a really great example of how blockchain can exist in an app and you don't even know it. That's the type of products that I think are really going to take us to the next level and bring us that new adoption that everybody's so desperately looking for in this space. So I'm excited because I know a lot of people are working on that kind of stuff because they're coming to us to help them do it. So I think there's a lot of potential in the near future to see these products getting delivered at a very high level, like we've been talking about this whole time.
I think any layer one that's able to provide savings on micropayments in general, I think that's setting itself up for success with how micropayments are playing out in the broader world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a truly exciting times. I like what you said about, just that Steve Jobsian moment, right? One click and it's done, and then we'll be there. I think we're getting close to that. The technology is ready. Now we got to go out there and build these applications that actually bring in these users that are, the UI, UX is easy, simple. I mean, some would argue that even the biggest exchanges are still not there yet, right?
Yep.
So, I think those are, and also just like to you in the audience that you built your product, you're out there now, like, the company I referenced, Zebu, they have a lot of firepower, but for those that are just starting out and they're just you're taking your vision from nothing to something. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I just want to congratulate you on that. And hopefully all of the visionaries like you, the projects are allowed to see the light of day thanks to the help of people like yourselves who've been working and grinding in this industry and just helping people be successful, right? To find those gems. So absolutely. So where can they connect with you guys? Where can they find you?
We have a booth here, just over there, or you can find us at mlabs.city.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we're fpcomplete.com or fpblock.com. We did the Birch booth over here around your little.
All right,
tags.
so go and check them out at their booths. And Cash, where can they find you?
You guys can find us on Twitter. You can find us at ada-anvil.io, or you can send us an email to hello@adaanvil, and we'll take care of you. Or just message me on Twitter if you find me. I do kind of a little bit of everything. So.
All right, so just send them a DM, and it'll be all good.
It happens a lot.
Absolutely, and I'm Crypto Megan on all socials, so I'd love to connect with you guys as well. And thank you guys so much for such an insightful panel. Hope to catch up with you soon.
Hey,
Thank you for moderating.
Yeah, thank you.
Discover Rare Socials, happening worldwide at a blockchain event near you. From Paris to Dubai, Austin to Token 2049 Singapore. Find a Rare Social at your next event. Connect with innovators and explore new opportunities. We look forward to seeing you at the next Rare Social.